Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be putting the cover or binding my signatures into my cover. So to create the cover I used this fabric. It's just a cotton, might be have a bit of rayon in it, I'm not sure. So that's under there. And then I have this lace here, and I don't know whether you can see it or not, but it's beautifully textured, and it's white, but I have used my Wild Honey ink to colour it. All I did was smooch some ink onto my mat and then sprayed it with water and then just rubbed this into it. And I've got that, and on the inside I have this fabric here. Don't know if you can see that, but it's got like a self pattern in it of little, I don't know even what you'd call them, but it's just got a little pattern in it. And so I have also in there a sheet of 300 GSM watercolour paper. So it's soft, it feels soft, but it's solid, it's yeah, sturdy. So, and then I used double-sided interfacing to attach this to the watercolour cardstock and the blue to this side of the cardstock, and then I just laid this lace on top of it and then stitched around the edge of it to keep that in place. So now I'm going to stitch my signatures in. I'm going to use the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and I've got this template that I've made to let me fit where to, or mark where to put my signatures. So I'm just going to put a pencil mark there like that, and then I've got 3 signatures, so I'm going to set these 1/2 inch apart. And there. Now let's get my ruler. So if I put that like that and that like that, I can put a mark there and there. Where's my centre one? There. There, is it? Is it 5.5? Yeah. And then go another 1/2 inch over from that one. So I'm going to go on 2 inches, 9 inches, 2 inches, 9 inches, and 5.5. Okay, so they're my 3 points for putting my signatures. So now I'm going to put this little pad underneath there, and I'm going to use my awl to poke those holes in. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do this for all 9 holes. I have done this type of binding before, and I'm quite partial to it. It's a bit hard to see from this side, but hopefully it will be okay. Now I've got this twine that I have coloured with some ink, and I'm hoping it's going to be long enough. I did this previously. 1, 2, actually I'm going to need 3 of them, aren't I? And I haven't got 3 of them, I've only got 2, so perhaps I better, oh no, I do have 3. Are they all the same length? Yes, so I should be right. Yep, Okay, now I need to mark my signatures, so what I have to do now, I'll just move that out the way for a minute. I want to push these down as well as I can. I'm going to open it up and try and push right down into there. I'm trying to get them in as far or as well as I can and level top to bottom. And I'm going to keep that in place. Make sure I've got that pushed in nicely and put that in place. Now the same for this side. Make sure I've got that nicely pressed in there. Now I think, from memory, I usually bind my signatures into my cover before I do any embellishments on it. So having these embellishments in there is making it a little more difficult. See if I've got another clip here. Yep. Because I've got that extra bolt there where the embellishments are, just making it a little trickier. Okay, so now I'm going to use this, which is the top. That's the top. So I'm going to mark this as the top. I'm going to put that into my, gonna have to make a template for this. Right, so for that I just want a piece of paper. Let me get a paper. Okay, so this is just a piece of scrap and it's the same height as my papers. So I'm going to fold that in halves. Like so. And then I'm going to measure how far have I got between these holes. 3.5 inches. So let's find the centre, which will be 4 1/8. That's our centre one. And then it's 3.5 each way. And that's the top. Okay, so let's try again. So fold your template up, pop it in there, right in the bottom, right in the crease, and probably should have put that under that. poke the holes in there. Now I find that if I keep my book folded up like this, I get a better hole. Three. I'm going to make that hole a bit bigger. So you might notice that the awl has a tapered shaft here, so you can make your hole as deep or as thick as you like. Okay. I'm just going to put that back. There. It's not right. Right, okay. Get about that. Now let's get our cord. So this is waxed cord. I'll show you. It's this. So you can see it's white. It's just a waxed cord. Now, where's my... Oh, first of all, I should probably see... Is this the one I want as the first? Probably would prefer this one. So I'll put this in as the last one. So I'll have that be my first, that'll be my second, and that'll be my third. So, bring your cover in. And I want my cords on the outside at the top. So I'm going to start at the outside on the top. So this is a bit tricky. Uh-oh. That was a mistake. That was a mistake pulling that out of there. Let's see if we can get... I should have left these clips on there so that I didn't lose my holes. Now I'm probably never going to get them back. Oh no, that's all right. Yeah. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to use this all. So, I'm going to push this through here. And make that big enough that I can see the hole. Then I can put my needle in that hole. And pull that through. Then I take this, make sure I've got it up the right way, and put my needle through the top hole. And hold that down. Now I go in through the middle hole, and through the middle hole here. There. And then we're going to go back in through this bottom hole. So there's our hole. There. And through the hole in our signature. There. And then we go out through this middle hole. We want to make sure we get through the hole in the same spot. We don't catch anything or go outside of our pull that up. And that's that. And then we come back inside here and make sure that we've got everything nice and tight. We've got our signature sitting exactly where we want it to be. So that's nice and firm. We can turn that over and we can tie this off. Now, how did I go? Yeah, not too bad. So I'm going to tie that off up the top here. So what have I got? Left over right. Make sure it's firm. And then right over left. That nice and firmly, and so there we have our first, or actually in this case our last signature stitched into our cover. So that will sit in there like that. This will come over and then that will fold over like that. Right, so now I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the next one, which will be this one. So let's tap that down. Make sure we've got the top and the bottom level. Find our centre. There's my bits. Now I'm not going to hold the guide in with the clips. I'm going to just hold that in place by hand. If you're not sure that you can hold it in the right spot, well then clip it in. I'm going to risk it because I don't want to go through all the hassle of moving these clips once I've got my holes in there. I want them to stay exactly where they are. Okay, so now, where's our top? Now that I've got all that stuck in there, all that, need to find something. I think that's yeah, this is the right way up. So open that and put our template top to the top. Line our paper up. Make sure it's sitting firmly in the groove. And poke our holes. 1, 2, 3. Really good. So now I'm just going to make those holes a bit bigger. Makes it a bit easier to get our cord through it. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to, oh, where's my needle? There we go. Let's put some cord on our needle. Yes, well of course I can't get it to thread easily because the camera's rolling, but it can be done. You can of course use a needle with a bigger eye, but anyway. Okay, so first of all we put our, oh no, I have to start from the outside, don't I, because I want the finished cord on the outside. So let's find the hole. I think that's it there. So let's see there. So in at the top. Now you can do your binding in, whichever way you like. You can start in the middle, you can start on the inside, you can start at the bottom. It's basically the same deal, just depends where you want your threads to end up. I want mine on the outside because I think I'm probably going to add some beads to this. So that's that. Down through the middle and out through the middle hole. What you can do is because you don't want your thread to pull through, you can take your thread and like paper clip it somewhere so that it doesn't move. And then hopefully we'll be right. Okay, so now we can pull this through here. And then back up through the bottom. So let me get my tool here and push that down. Make that hole a bit easier to find. When you're doing a fabric cover, you'll find that these holes will sort of close up once you've got your thread through it. So, you don't have to worry too much about. And now up through the book of the signature. Okay, now out through the middle. Let's remove that, take it out there, and then it might be a bit easier to get it down through there. We don't have to worry about getting it through the book. Turn it over. See how, I don't know, see how I've got that bit of lace between this piece and that piece? We don't want that. We want to make sure that this comes out at exactly the same place as the other one went in. There we go. Need to have had your weedies to do this. Okay, so you can see now that that's coming out, you know, in exactly the same spot. So it looks like a continuous line. Now, you can also, if you want to, like thread buttons or beads or anything on this as you're doing it. So if I wanted beads on here, I'd put them on now before I tie this off. If I wanted them down the bottom, I'd put them in before I went back down through the next hole. So that's another thing you can do on your spines. So now we make sure we've got this nice and tight. I haven't got my string through there evenly, so I'm gonna try and fix that. So I want, what do I want? Yeah, that way. And pull this one up, then pull this one up, and then pull this one up. I want them to be about the same. They don't have to be exactly the same, but they're about the same. So let me check that I've got everything tight enough. There's nothing worse than having a loose signature bound in there. Well, I don't think so. That's my personal opinion. So left over right. And right over left. So tighten that up. And tighten this one up. And there we go. So that's 2 signatures in. I don't think you need to watch me do the third one, so I'll do that off camera, and when I've got that done, I will come back. So you can see how it's coming along anyway. Get rid of that now. There, we're going to put our third signature in there, and then that will come over and close like that. I haven't put the closure on yet, but you can see the idea. Alright, okay, I'll be back soon. Okay, so I've got all my signatures in there now. So we've got the 3 signatures. I just went in and just rubbed my finger along the edge there just to sort of crease them back down. And when we look at it from the top, we have got our folder or our journal like so. Some bits and pieces hanging out the top, and that's the bottom. So we've got about 1/4 of an inch at the bottom and about 1/4 of an inch at the top inside of the cover. Because normally I round the corners off, but I thought I'd leave them on square this time, and I'm going to put some corner protector things, I can't remember what they're called, on here so that this lace doesn't actually end up curling backwards. So that's what I'll probably do next. So I'll gather up my stuff and then I will come back to you. As I said, I haven't put a closure on here. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, but whatever closure I decide on, I will put it underneath whatever I do as a decoration on the top of this. So it'll go under there and then it will wrap around and tie. So I'll be back when I've got my things organised to do my corners. Okay, so I've got this container full of all of these corners, and I'll put a link to this. It's a good value little kit, got all sorts of sizes and designs on there, and I've found these four that I'm going to use on here. Now I'm going to just slip that over that, and then and make sure I've got it into the corner properly. Then I'm going to go from this direction. I don't know whether you can actually see that or not. I hope you can. I'm going to make sure I hold that in place, and then I'm going to fold this down. I'm going to press it quite firmly because I don't want them to pull off. And I'm going to do the same for this side. So once again, just flattening that down, and that attaches it nicely to the cover. So I've got 3 more of those to do. I will just speed this up because it's the same process for each one. So I'm just pressing each edge down so that it's got a good grip. I think that if you wanted to, you could also add some glue inside. I don't think it's necessary. I think this is going to have a good grip on the fabric, so I'm just going to go with that. I think it really neatens the corners off, and when you've got your fabric on there like this, which is not trimmed right up to the edge, it really helps to keep that in place. Alright, so there we've got our signatures stitched in. We've got plenty of room between our signatures to allow for some expansion. And that goes like that. Now, I'm not sure if I've got some of this fabric left, this lace. I might put a pocket on the inside. Let me go and check and see what I can find. Okay, so I checked it out and I haven't got any more that I've already dyed, but I have got some that I could dye, but I decided against it because now that I've put these edges on, it would be very hard to stitch a pocket on there. And being fabric, or lace even, I really don't want to have a glue line showing around there. I did consider using this as a pocket, and yeah, it would look great I think, but same problem. I would end up with a glue line all the way around, and I'm not a big fan of that look. I do really like this on there though. Perhaps I could attach this to some paper and stitch it on. I've got some paper here. Why don't I do that? So I could pop that on there, make it the right size, stitch that on there, and then stitch around that. That is what I will do. So let's do that. I'm going to make it reasonably high, so I'm going to say that high. Bring it in there, and that wide. I'm going to, I want one for the front and the back, so I'll do 2 at the same time. what is it? That is, well, I'm going to make it 5 inches tall because I want to do a gusseted pocket. And what size is that? That is, well, I'm going to take that out to 7 inches. Maybe 7 1/4. Now I need to make another one. There we go. What did I say? 7 1/4 by 5. 5 by 7 1/4. Okay. Now I want a 1/2 inch on the bottom and a 1/2 inch on the 2 edges. Now then, we all know how to make a gusseted pocket, I'm assuming, but for any of the beginners out there, we generally cut the bottom corners right out and just cut a little slope on the top so that when we fold those pieces back, you can't actually see them. Okay, now let's fold our pockets in. I'm thinking about the closure and I'm not really sure what I want to do for a closure yet, so I won't be doing the closure today. I think I'll put these pockets in and I might call it a day after that. Let's have a look how they fit. Bit too big. Too big. So I'm going to mark that there, on it, just inside of that, and to get my scoreboard back out. Line that up with a score line. Make sure I've got that pushed up there nicely so it's straight, and then bring that in, which means I will need to readjust that corner notch and fold that in like so. Does that fit? Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay, see, that's the front. I'm just going to write that on the inside. Now let's check the back one. The back one's got a bit more scope, although I don't really want it to come too far around that bend. think it might bring this one back a little bit too. I think I'm going to pull that back to about there. See, that one's a bit narrow because that comes over. So let's score that. And I might trim that off actually. So you can see I've brought that back one in quite a bit. Yeah, it wouldn't want to be any bigger. I would not want to be any bigger at all. Okay, so let us, now I'm going to cut the fabric for the pocket back. I want to bring that around, or not really. I think I might leave it out. I need to cut that straight, which will be a bit of a hard job for me to do, especially with those scissors. I would prefer a longer blade. Actually, I'm going to go and use my rotary trimmer and my cutting mat and cut that straight. I'll be back in a tick. Okay, so I've got a mat here and I'm going to just line that up so that my points are running along this line, and then I can use this, which I'm lining up along this line here, in my rotary cutter, which I'm just going to run across there, like so. Now, if I put this on here, let those points poke up above. So I want to run that along that line there, and here I want to mark Okay, so once again I'm going to line my points up along this line here, and I'm going to put my ruler along this line. And trim that. Okay, now turn it sideways, line the edge up along, this edge up along the bottom line, and this up against that line and cut that straight. This is about the only way I can get a straight cut in fabric. And then I can even get a crooked line if I let my ruler move. Okay, so was this for this one? That one? No, for the front one. The front one's slightly bigger, isn't it? So that is going to sit on there like so. Now I need to cut one for this one. So now I'm going to take these to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch the fabric onto the paper. Okay, so I've stitched around those and now I'm going to attach them. So I'm just going to attach them in the normal way with my art glitter glue. Oh, it's fabric, so I might use my fabric glue. Make sure it's not blocked up. So run some glue along here. Okay. Let's put that in there. Make sure we've got that tucked under there. Okay. Let's glue off my fingers and run over that with my bone folder. Make sure it's nicely positioned onto that fabric underneath. Push it down in around the page corners. So there's a little lesson in there. If you're going to do this, put your pocket on before you do your page corners. It will make it easier for you. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for a bit. I'm used to using art glitter glue, which dries pretty quickly, and this fabric glue needs a little more time to set. Okay, let's position that where we want it. It's crooked. Okay. got some sort of half-made embellishments here, so you can just see that something's going to sit in there fine. Yep. Yes, very good. All right, so that is probably all I'm going to do today, because as I said, I haven't decided yet what sort of closure I'm going to have on it. I've got my signature stitched in, I've got my front pockets on, I've got my corners on, I've got my cords here that I'm going to put some beads or something on. I have to decide what I'm going to put on there. So yes, I'm going to call that today. Just before I go, I wanted to share that I did end up embellishing the pockets. I put a little page edge on here with a piece of cheesecloth and a fussy cut, and in here I've got a little tag and a envelope, and in here I've got a larger envelope, and I did a very similar thing in the back one. I've got a large journaling card in here, little edge here with the cheesecloth, and two little tags, or a tag and a ticket. Yeah, I just wanted to show you that I'd done that. Alright, well, thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you are new to the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, I hope you found it useful and instructional. And yeah, I hope you can join me when I post my next video. Okay, bye.